We sang a party the next.
Oh, just after having the baby.
Barbara and Peggy and I were a vocal trio called Texas Water.
Oh.
We made our living singing. And then with True...
So they were kind of like sister wives, or?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. I mean, let's just get it out there.
When you're in the same band, you're kind of like sister anything, you know.
Okay. I'm not judgmental. I'm not even...
When True was born, he was born about noon one day, and then she played in a band that night. I took him down for him to nurse about 10 o'clock, and nobody in the band even knew that she had the baby that night.
I thought I was tough. I had my wisdom teeth out and went and played softball that night. I thought I was tough.
Yeah.
Well,
she's having a baby.
All three of Peggy's births, she played the next day.
Wow. That's a tough broad there.
Wow.
No, I milked it.
But when you've been around it, like my brother had his second child on, they were born at home. I've had friends that have, like, that's the culture that I kind of was.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not a strange thing. You know, once you go through it, it's like you see what it's like, and it's like.
You didn't have a midwife there or anything?
No pain pills?
No, and my daughter, all of my children, their kids at home too. And
really?
They were brought up seeing each other be born. It's like, why would they then want to go to a hospital? Yeah. They see how it works. But I was brought up by an ag teacher dad. So we saw animals being born. Mm-hmm. It was like, we are an animal, you know, and it's like, it isn't that much different. And once you get through just the pressure of the cultural pressure, like I had a son that drowned, and we buried him ourselves out at the farm, which wasn't something we had been brought up to do or encouraged to do either. But it's like if you're trying to think elementally or basically all the time and find just the core truth of something.
Minimally.
Yeah, you're not as... This is another essential part of it all, though. You have to be kind of revolutionary defiant. You have to have at some point been stripped of your citizenship. Because we as citizens all kind of do the same thing. But when I was 22, I went in the Army, and 9 days later, when I was supposed to gut a dummy with a bayonet, I just said no. So I went to prison for a couple of years.
Wow.
And once you've been to prison for a couple of years, it's easier not to come home and want to do everything like everybody else. It's like, that wasn't that bad. I'm still alive. I'd been to Columbia Christian College, Abilene Christian College, Oklahoma Christian College.
I went to ACU for 2 years.
So I'd been to church schools all my life. My dad, when I was a kid, was a Church of Christ preacher. It was all church and school.
Yeah.
So then I go to prison and realize, man, this beats a Christian college all to hell. Just in terms of being real. At church schools, it's a bunch of bullshit.
It was so fake.
Hypocrisy and all that. At prison,
fake.
there's none of that shit.
Yeah.
So when I came home from prison, I wasn't as likely just to do what everybody else did. It's like I'd kind of been stripped of all of that stuff. You know, it's like because at prison they basically strip you down to you know, you wear the same.
The military does too. They strip you of everything, so that they can.
But at prison, they're not asking you to do things. You know, like
against your beliefs.
Nobody ever asked me to do something in prison that I had some kind of moral instinct against.